Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today Barcelona have just ended the game against Girona where we have won 2-1 courtesy of a late winning goal from the muscle man Ronald Araujo. That was awesome, man. To be honest with you, I really do not know how Barcelona won this game because in the first half, especially after the 15th minute, Barcelona were terrible, as in super terrible, as in it could have been 4-1 at halftime. It was that bad. The team we play today is currently sitting 19th on the table with 6 points out of a possible 24. They have been a mess since last season, even in this season, and today we see them playing against us like they were a Champions League team. Man, how did we get here? The first 15 minutes from us was really good. We ran, we pressed, we controlled possession, we made it difficult for them to play out of the back, and it was only fitting that we got the first goal from Pedri. Fantastic goal, a good pass from Yamal, I think, and he, got into the 80, jinked through some legs, and it kind of looked to me like he wanted to pass, but he knew what he was doing. He looked to one direction and placed the ball calmly to the other direction. It was so good the keeper couldn't even respond. My personal expectation after the goal we scored was for us to increase our tempo or at least sustain it so we could, dominate and get a second goal. But for some reason, it never happened. I could see a loss of concentration in the way we played. Girona got more comfortable and that was how they started to attack. And boy, did they attack. If not for poor finishing, large ditch tackles, goalkeeping saves, the ball hitting the post, we would have been dead and buried in 45 minutes. Now imagine we're playing against a team like maybe Real Madrid, maybe Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Arsenal. How it would have turned out? It would have been disastrous for us, and we need to stop this. We are really in a bad place and something needs to be done because what we are doing is clearly not working. Yes, I know we had a lot of absentees, those who are not able to play because they're out injured, those who are not able to play because they're not match fit, and those who are not able to play the whole game because they're still regaining fitness, like Lamine Yamal and Alejandro Balde. But that doesn't give us an excuse to put out that performance we put out against Girona today. Because if we do that against Real Madrid, we are going to get smacked, and that's a fact. So Hansi Flick started with an 11 that comprised Chesney in goal, Alejandro Balde at left back, that was his first start in a while. We had a central defense pairing of Pau Kubasi and Eric Garcia, and at the right back we had Jules Koundé. In the midfield we had Pedri, Frenkie de Jong and Casado, and at front three we had Marcus Rashford, Tony Fernandes and Lamine Yamal. Obviously Tony Fernandes had to play because Lewandowski is injured, Ferran Torres is injured, and Dani Olmo, who also could play false nine, was also injured. It was a no-brainer. He wasn't particularly awesome in the game. He was okay, but he's young, he will learn, and he will get better. No big deal. Top performances for me, I would say number one is Pedri. Fantastic goal, controlled the game as much as he could, pressed, tackled, won possession, intercepted balls. He did all he could. I don't think he could have done any better. Number two, for me, would be Marcus Rashford. He was also great. Could have gotten a free kick goal, and that would have been our first free kick since maybe direct free kick goal since maybe Ferran Torres, maybe a year or two ago. That would have been awesome, but unfortunately it didn't go in. I would also say Frenkie de Jong, who was good as well, played well beside Pedri, and was when he needed to advance, he did well, and probably could have gotten the goal on assist today. And then Lamine Yamal, yes, he wasn't able to play the whole game because he's still coming back to full fitness after the injury he had, but he was good, he was threatening, he got an assist for Pedri's goal, and I'm hoping that he gets better against Real Madrid next week because we need him in that game to be fit and firing from the beginning to the end. I think Hansi Flick did quite well with his substitutions in the second half, especially with the decision to bring on Fermin Lopez. Fermin came into the game and obviously changed the game. His attitude, his approach, his ability to press, and he got like 2 or 3 shots on goal. Unfortunately, the goals couldn't come because Gazzaniga was on form. That was a good decision he made. And one of the decisions he also made, which I would think is the best decision he made, was the muscle man he got on the pitch, Ronald Araujo. Not just getting him on the pitch, but the position he made him play when he got in. The crazy thing about the game was that Ronald Araujo didn't come into the game to play as a defender that we know he is. He came to play as a striker. All the while he was on the pitch, he was in the 18-yard box. That was crazy. The first action he took, I think, was somewhere towards the the right of Girona's defense. He tried to beat a defender. I think it worked. He was trying to square for someone to score, but that didn't work out. But the moment came when Frenkie de Jong delivered a sublime cross, and he did what he was there to do. He put the ball in the net, and that was the end of the game pretty much. Because that was like the 93rd minute, and we got the victory. credit to Araujo. Yeah, we know that when it comes to defending, you've been not so good. But that whole thing kind of reminds me of the Ronald Koeman days. Just saying. And that being said, I need to get something off my chest. I need to talk about the refereeing in La Liga. Time after time, season after season, we've seen situations where Barcelona don't only play against other teams, we also play against the establishment, and it is not fair. Look at Himazano today. What was he doing? Why was he very, very fast to flash a yellow card, a second yellow card to Hansi Flick and send him off before the Clasico? Why was he so slow to take a second look at the foul against Marcus Rashford that would have given us a penalty? I don't get it. This needs to change. We can't continue like this. Another thing I want to talk about is our high line, because to be honest, we have been found out. The success we recorded last year using that high line, it has given us a false sense of security, and that needs to be addressed. The truth is that other teams have figured a way to play against us, and we saw what happened against Sevilla, where they scored for, it could have been 7 or 8, and against PSG, a highly depleted PSG, we still lost at home. Something needs to be done about our high line. Hansi Flick, I don't think it's all the time that we need to play as high as we did, as high as we do, but we need to do something. Something needs to be done, and done very fast. One thing I know is that the high line depends on everybody doing their job well at every moment, and whenever there's a loss of concentration, everything crumbles. We need to find a way to figure it out, and I hope that we do that before the game against Real Madrid next week. So Barca are on top for the next 24 hours at least. We'll know if that becomes 1 week, after the game between Real Madrid and Getafe tomorrow. This win is very important because I think it puts us in a very comfortable place mentally, so we can be able to prepare against the game against Real Madrid, irrespective of what happens between them and Getafe tomorrow. We need to do a lot of things right. We need to take time, look through the problems we have encountered from the beginning of the season till now. Hopefully we'll have more players back and we can be able to do better in the next game. But before then, we're going to play against Olympiacos in the Champions League. Remember the last game we played, we lost at home to PSG, and we need to win this game. I'm hoping that we fix all these issues so we can get a good outing in a week against the Greek side. So that'll be all from me today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for the videos I'm going to post in this week before the game and after the game against Olympiacos. I really love to hear your thoughts about today's game. What did we do right? What did we do wrongly? And what things do we need to do to put our team in a good place for the La Liga and the Champions League this season? Until then, live well, be safe, and Visca Barca.